Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Today, hope and concern in the Middle East as a hostage deal may finally be on the horizon. But the Islamic leader of Turkey may be getting ready for a military action. Here at home, investigators trying to find out why a 15-year-old girl opened fire in her Christian school Monday, killing 2 and wounding 6. Big Brother really is watching you. We're going to look at how the British government is cracking down on the wrong speech in the United Kingdom. And Operation Blessing still on the scene, bringing hope and help to victims of Hurricane Helene in this Christmas season. All those stories and more right now on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
It's a busy Tuesday. We're going to begin in the Middle East, where Israeli officials believe there is growing optimism Hamas may finally be willing to agree to a hostage deal. It's coming as President-elect Donald Trump talked about Israel, Syria, and the Middle East in a wide-ranging news conference Monday. He described a recent phone conversation with Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu as a, quote, very good talk. But a major concern, the Islamic leader of Turkey may be planning a military invasion into parts of Syria. Chris Mitchell brings us the story now. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
During his press conference, President-elect Trump weighed in on the sudden takeover of Syria by rebel forces. He also suggested Turkish leader Recep Erdogan was deeply involved and sees Syria as part of his plan to reconstruct a Turkish empire.
Turkey's the one behind it. He's a very smart guy. They've wanted it for thousands of years, and he got it. And those people that went in are controlled by Turkey. And that's okay. It's another way to fight.
Trump's comments come as U.S. officials fear Turkish-backed forces are massing on the border of northeast Syria for an imminent invasion. The territory is controlled by Kurdish forces and an independent and democratic government that was an ally with the U.S. in the war against ISIS. In a letter to Trump, leaders warned of catastrophic consequences if they were invaded and asked Trump to press Erdogan to not send troops across the border. As to Israel's war with Iran's proxies, Trump was bullish on his talk with Netanyahu.
The real conversations will start on the 20th, but we had a really good conversation, and I think we're going to be in a good place in the Middle East.
Trump said getting the hostages free is a priority.
As you know, I gave warning that if these hostages aren't back home by that date, all hell's going to break out, and very strong.
The release of the hostages is one of the toughest issues since October 7th. Now that Hamas realizes Hezbollah and Iran are not coming to its rescue, the group may be ready to finally bargain with Israel. Israel's defense minister told the Knesset Monday that a deal is the nearest it's been since the last agreement.
We all estimate that an opportunity is being created following Hamas's need to become more flexible, and I really hope we can advance to a practical stage in this process.
According to the Washington Post, Hamas is no longer insisting the war in Gaza completely end, and all Israeli troops depart as a precondition for releasing hostages. Meanwhile, a new study reports Hamas has vastly inflated the number of Gazans killed in the 14-month war. The Hamas-run Ministry of Health in Gaza claims 45,000 dead, but the Henry Jackson Society's report disputes that number. It concludes Hamas's reporting has a number of distortions. Men listed as women to inflate female fatalities. Adults registered as children to inflate child fatalities, including 5,000 natural deaths, as well as people killed by Hamas in the death tolls, including deaths before the war began, and no mention of combatant deaths, as many as 17,000. Military historian John Spencer said during its war with Hamas, Israel has done more to mitigate civilian deaths than any other military in history.
And we're going to continue our coverage now with Chris joining us from Jerusalem. So, Chris, just yesterday, Gaza health officials were claiming the death toll from war between Israel and Hamas had topped 45,000 people. This new study disputes those claims. What has been the thinking in Israel about the Gaza casualty figures?
Well, Ephraim, I think since the beginning of the war, as soon as Israel went in there, they were skeptical of the figures by Hamas. That's happened in all the wars with Israel back in 2008-9. 12, 14, and 16, Hamas, and 21, Hamas's inflated casualty numbers. It's part of their propaganda. What they do, Ephraim, is they use women and children as human shields. The more deaths they have, the more it uses that information to demonize Israel. Much of the world's media often uses those numbers. In this report by the Jackson Society said that only 3% of news stories actually included in those death tolls are deaths of Hamas fighters. And also they report on these numbers without verification. And what this does, Ephraim, it really skews the narrative. It demonizes Israel, and it fails to recognize often that Israel's efforts to minimize civilian casualties. How do they do that? Phone calls, text messages, and leaflets to civilians to flee combat zones. However, Hamas uses those as human shields. And also these things by Israel puts their own soldiers, Israeli soldiers, at risk.
Chris, what's the reason for the optimism now about a hostage deal?
Well, changes in Hamas's position. They're flexible on declaring the end of the war. They're allowing the IDF on the Gaza border, this is called the Philadelphia corridor, to remain for a while. And so Hamas is increasingly isolated. As the report said, Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran are no longer there to help them and back them up. Also, I think Trump's warning really has some weight with Hamas. And there are also some of the reported details of this deal is that there would be a ceasefire for about a month. There would be a gradual release of a few dozen hostages, and then the release as well of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
Let's talk about concerns over Turkey. How serious is the possibility that Turkey would invade northeast Syria?
It's very serious, Ephraim, and that's why the people there in northeast Syria sent this letter to President Trump, warning of a catastrophe if they do come in. They're on the verge of going into a place called Kobani, that's in northeast Syria. This area has been a refuge for Christians and even Muslim background believers. That's really an anomaly here in the Middle East. The concern is that Erdogan will change the situation on the ground before Trump takes over. And then once he does take over, it would make it harder to reverse the situation on the ground. The administration there in northeast Syria is calling on 10 points, and they include protection from Turkish attacks. They want to preserve their own diversity. They want to ensure, as they have, women's participation in government. They require at least 40% women's participation, and to let Syrians, and especially there in northeast Syria, to decide their own future.
What is this Turkish-backed group, and what have they done recently?
Well, the Turkish-backed group is called the SNA, and they're really a proxy army of Erdogan. What they've done recently is in a place called Manbij. They've taken that over. They have cut off the water and electricity. They have confiscated property. They have taken over buildings by people. They're really about 10,000 people are out of work right now because of this. They've also arrested some people. Being Kurdish in that city right now is considered a crime. So this is why some people in northeast Syria are very concerned about this army that really is on the border and with an imminent invasion.
What has Erdogan said about his plans for the Middle East, and how would it affect Israel?
Well, it would affect Israel. It would affect this city right now, because Erdogan has said that he thinks Jerusalem is, quote, ours. The Ottoman Empire once, in its fullest extent, controlled the greater Middle East, and it controlled the city of Jerusalem. And he actually wants to take over this city, as well as many other parts of the Middle East. And if you could say, Ephraim, in the last few days or a few weeks, really, Iran is failing as a power here in the Middle East, and Turkey is rising here in the Middle East, and all part of Erdogan's overall goal to reestablish the Neo-Ottoman Empire with Jerusalem as part of that caliphate.
What do you have for us this evening on Jerusalem Dateline?
Well, we have an update on what's the latest here in the Middle East. We also have a story. Gary Lane did an interview with someone from the Middle East Forum, really talking about the new leader from HTS, al-Jilani, and really what his goals are. We have a story called Root and Branch. It's about a combination of a Jewish organization here working with Christians to help Israelis, particularly those on the Gaza border, restore their lives. That's all part of what we have on this week's today's Jerusalem Dateline, and I think it'll be a good story. I think people will like it very much.
I look forward to all of that. Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell, thank you for your insight. As always, stay safe. Know we continue to pray for you and our team there in Israel. I want to remind you at home that you can get the latest from Jerusalem Dateline at 8 o'clock this evening on the CBN News channel. That is Eastern Time. You can also watch it on the CBN News app, or you can find it on YouTube. Coming up, 2 people are dead and 6 more injured after a 15-year-old girl opened fire at a private Christian school in Wisconsin. We're going to look at what happened when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Investigators are looking for answers today after a 15-year-old girl opened fire inside a study hall at a small Christian school in Wisconsin, killing a teacher and a teenager.
At 10:57 a.m., a second grade student called 911 to report a shooting had occurred at school. Don't let that soak in for a minute. A second grade student called 911 at 10:57 a.m. to report a shooting at school.
A swarm of police officers arriving at the school. The police chief saying the student also wounded 6 others in Monday's shooting at Abundant Life Christian School, including 2 students who were in critical condition. A teacher and 3 students were taken to a hospital with less serious injuries, and 2 were later released. Police said the shooter was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound when officers arrived. She died on the way to the hospital. The chief said police were talking with the shooter's father and other family members who were cooperating and searching the shooter's home. Abundant Life is a non-denominational Christian school, pre-kindergarten through high school, with about 420 students. That is in Madison, Wisconsin. Still ahead, no free speech in Britain. Citizens report being charged with non-crime hate incidents and thought crimes throughout the United Kingdom. And you may not believe just how serious the situation is. We're going to bring you a look right after this. For centuries, Britain was a bastion of democracy. Today, it's become a bastion of censorship. Police hunt down and charge anyone who expresses what the government says is the wrong idea. Critics say it has become like the totalitarian societies it once stood against. Dale Hurd brings us the story. He's reporting from London.
When a British lawyer and free speech advocate wanted to test the United Kingdom's censorship laws, she tweeted that perhaps her cat is a Methodist because it likes Dreamy's cat treats. Then she asked a friend to report her for hate speech against Methodists to see what might happen. And local police issued a case number. Sarah Phillimore then tweeted more nonsensical posts about her pets and says she now has a police record.
And it was recorded under the heading, "A Barrister Posting Hate."
When British police stopped Army veteran Adam Smith Connor as he was praying for a son lost to an abortion while standing in an abortion clinic buffer zone, officers' first question to him was, "What is the nature of your prayer?"
What is the nature of your prayer?
I'm praying for my son.
And for that, Smith Connor was convicted of what many are calling a thought crime. Dr. Kelvin Wright, also a British Army veteran, saw his military career effectively ruined after being put through an Army disciplinary process for sharing a social media post in favor of women's rights that offended a transgender British soldier. Although exonerated, Wright left the Army.
So you ask me what the moral is. Well, the frightening moral is don't say any opinions.
British police have investigated 250,000 so-called non-crime hate incidents in the last 10 years, an average of 66 every day. And some have gone to prison. When it comes to freedom, Britain is at a tipping point. This is a nation that prides itself as being a champion of liberty. And yet some are warning that Britain is sleepwalking into a totalitarian future. Toby Young, the founder of Britain's Free Speech Union, says a few years ago he thought the censorship in Britain couldn't possibly get worse. Now he says that was naive.
I liken it to falling through a burning building. You know, every time you think things can't get any worse and you've finally reached rock bottom, the floor gives way and you're falling again.
Some, like London Telegraph columnist Alison Pearson, have been investigated for social media posts a year or more old, what Toby Young calls offense archaeology. Get charged with a non-crime hate incident and it can become a stain on your career, showing up on background checks.
No reasonable person wants to have on a police record that you are guilty of some form of hate.
After former police officer Harry Miller faced charges of what police labeled transphobic hate speech in 2019, he began the organization Fair Cop to challenge law enforcement interfering with free speech. He was joined by Sarah Phillimore.
The vast majority of police officers in this country are sick and tired of this nonsense. They too have to be careful about the opinions that they express, because they too can find themselves at the wrong end of a non-crime hate incident, a disciplinary, and potentially being thrown out of the police force. But I've seen far too many police officers who look like they are enjoying what they're doing.
While Britain does not have a First Amendment like the U.S., British common law is supposed to protect speech. However, news commentator Connor Tomlinson says you can't say Britain has free speech when only speech approved by the government is allowed.
So no, we don't have free speech in this country. Instead, if you're a Christian, if you question the open borders, mass immigration agenda, or if you say some, let's say, febrile and ill-advised things on a social media app, but you're not a member of a state-approved left-wing NGO, then you will be sent to prison.
Adam Smith Connor says his legal ordeal has been personally tough after he fought for freedom in Afghanistan, risked his life, and lost friends there.
I've got a profound sense of sadness that for our nation, that the fact that we have plummeted to such a depth so quickly.
In his book, 1984, George Orwell depicted a future totalitarian state modeled after Stalin's Soviet Union. He probably never imagined that Britain one day would be described as Orwellian.
The idea that you can be criminalized for a non-crime, for instance, it's pure Orwell. This is straight out of 1984. As I told the police, 1984 is a dystopian novel. It is not a police how-to manual.
Young believes free speech can be restored in Britain, but citizens must get involved.
If we abandon our belief, our commitment to free speech, it'll be not just catastrophic for us, but catastrophic for the rest of the world.
Dale Hurd, CBN News, London.
Coming up here at home, the disaster of Hurricane Helene has faded from the headlines, but CBN's Operation Blessing is still on the scene, bringing people help and hope during this Christmas season. We're going to have that story for you when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. People in Western North Carolina are still struggling to recover from Hurricane Helene. From the beginning, CBN's Operation Blessing has been on the ground helping the victims. Now, during this Christmas season, the organization is shifting focus to bring a sense of holiday cheer. Reporter Brody Carter takes us to the heart of their efforts.
Snow's on the ground and Operation Blessing is still hard at work tackling massive projects just like this one, doing tree removal and work orders throughout the region. But now they're transitioning to Operation Christmas, working with several faith-based ministries, hoping to build houses throughout the Christmas season.
That's what we're called to do. We're called to love and to serve people.
OB has been leading disaster relief here since late September after Hurricane Helene barreled through the area.
From upstate New York, 15 hours. I brought my trailer, all my equipment.
Volunteers like retired trucker Billy Abbott is volunteering through the holidays.
Over at Boone, those people had absolutely nothing. And it just broke my heart.
From their home base at a local university, Operation Blessing is moving to long-term recovery.
We've been evolving the disaster from emergency, urgency, now into setting up this 2-year camp that is to build 175 homes. So that's the goal with this new camp.
Partnering with local churches, as well as ministries like World Vision and Youth with a Mission, OB serves hundreds of meals daily. On another level, tools and generators are provided as rebuilding homes has begun.
We have a nonprofit called Shelter in the Storm. to help women and children in need, in crisis. And we bought you a tiny home. Oh, we bought you a house.
Thank you. Oh my God.
And for another family, the Thomases, the impact is deeply personal. Hurricane Helene flooded their home with at least 7 feet of water. It destroyed their workshop, tools, and high-quality wood, all key parts of their custom woodworking business.
Looking around at all this, the devastation, as ugly as all of that is, this is that good. This sense of community, the new people that we've met.
Operation Blessing stepped in to replace those tools and restore clean drinking water to their home while giving the family a chance to rebuild their livelihood.
We've got a water thing now, and now we have another generator. So next time we have an apocalypse occur, we're set now.
Father, we thank you for your son and the hope that he gives us.
As winter sets in, Operation Blessing and its partners are bringing warmth one meal, hug, and house at a time. Even for those without a Christmas tree this year, the spirit of the season shines through acts of love and service.
We want to be the hands and feet of Jesus for the people who need right now some support.
Reporting in North Carolina, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Now, if you would like to help Operation Blessing as it ministers to these people in need, simply visit ob.org. Time now for your Tuesday Tweetable, and this is a message I pray encourages you, and I also hope that you will post, tag, tweet, and share it with those in your circles of influence. No care or concern is too small or too great. God wants you to bring it to Him. Prayer must always be your first priority and never your last resort. With that, take everything to the Lord in prayer. He will hear you and He will answer you. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. That address, cbnnews.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.